So today we are visiting the Royal Palace of Versailles, and the plan is to take a picnic in the garden. And yeah, there are some misunderstanding from the website about the gardens, etc. We'll see how it works out. But this is in front of the palace, and there is a gigantic queue, which I hope we don't have to stand in. We have a reservation for the palace at 3:30 in the afternoon, and entrance to the garden should be free, but we'll see how we get there first. But this is huge and impressive, and probably not that impressive on the camera as usual, but yeah, we'll see. So let's check out how we get to the garden. So it turned out that there is a special show today, fountain show and a musical show at the park in front of the Louvre. Oh, the Louvre, Versailles. So tickets are 10 euros per adult and 9.50 per children. So we don't want to see a show. We don't want to pay 50 euros. So we walk to this outside rim of the park where it's free. So now we're here and we're waiting for Madde and Caroline. We went ahead and did a recon mission to get here, so they wouldn't have to walk if we failed. But I think they're coming here behind the gates. And this is a little view of the park. This is how it looks in the entrance. And this is where King Louis XIII used to hunt. And also his son and grandson. So yeah, we'll take the picnic here, finally. Okay, so now the picnic are done. We have walked back to the Palace of Versailles, and this is our queue. They have two queues. The current queue, which is in the current time span, and 1.5 hour before. So as I said before when we got here, I hope this is not the queue we have to stand in, but this is the queue that we have to stand in. But since the queue is based on your time slot, then we are just sitting here waiting for all the people in our time slot to pass, and then we will enter the palace. So yeah, the garden was a bit of a fail, I think. What do you say, Madde?
What?
What do you think about the garden?
Oh, the garden is very nice.
Yeah. We entered about 10 meters into the garden, about of maybe 60. I don't know about the size of the garden, but I read online that it is about 60 soccer fields, or maybe 600 soccer fields.
Oh, nej.
Yeah. And we also had a bottle of sparkling wine, or a wine that foam in the park. So we are a bit giggly right now. So yeah, we'll see when the queue minimizes. We will enter the queue at the end, just to enjoy the experience much more, having the view here.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now we have completed that queue you saw before, and we are now in the courtyard before the palace, in front of the palace. And it's really good. It's impressive, to say the least. The story of Versailles is that it began with King Louis XIII falling in love with Versailles for the hunting grounds, and so he built a hunting cabin here. And then Louis XIV spent his youth here, also hunting and having fun here, I guess. So he also fell in love with the place. So when he became king, he decided to begin building this palace. So he then built it in. The building process began when he became king, and then he built the place in 50 years. And his son and his grandson continued the building process, and it's massive, and which all ends in the French Revolution in 1789. So yeah, I have to put on my face mask here, so hold on. And here we have him, Louis XIV, the guy who began building this palace. Handsome guy, I think. Looks like a rocker, metalhead, I think, with his nice poodle hair. So we passed the paintings, and this is a bit of another hallway with some nice statues and pillars. The doors aren't that bad either. And some merchandise. But it's also strange because, I mean, in those times the people were probably quite religious, so of course you have to have a church of your own. So this is it. I wish they would have lightened up the roof a bit, but you see the organ in front and the altar below. And if you would like to have a fireplace at home, why not build something like this? You can fit complete logs in it. I would like to have a nice cozy evening in front of this fire. And as usual, you have to be amazed about the handicraft and artmanship that has been put into these details, like you see this one, some kind of decoration. It's all over the place, and it's amazing. So this is the Venus room where King Louis XIV would have received his guests and had reception, and it says on the sign here that they were served fruits and stuff here in silver bowls on tables set up here, and of course a statue of the man himself, and the Venus room, of course, with Venus in the top, and this great ceiling painting. How would you sleep if you were a king? I would also have something like this, I think. So now we have entered the so-called war room on the north side, which is the entrance to the Hall of Mirrors, which is probably the most famous room here in Versailles, and also, yeah, the ceiling here is amazing, and that mural is also very impressive. So if we enter into the Hall of Mirrors, which is really spectacular. And I love these paintings, it's so much going on. You can study one painting for at least 5 minutes and find new details all the time. Look at that angry face, swinging the sword, probably on that guy's throat. And people fleeing to the right, the guy having a spear in his chest, just left to him. Yeah. A little recap of today's events. If you're going to Versailles and you don't want to see the show and you don't want to pay 100 euros to enter the garden, then I suggest you check the website and make sure that there is no special events. It took like 15-20 minutes to walk to the public park from the entrance at the Royal Palace, and which made it a bit harder to explore the gardens as much as we would have wanted to. Either way, we had a nice stay at the park, and the palace was good as well. We drove there by car, and from the Camping de Paris it took about 18-20 minutes on the GPS to drive there. So that's it for today. One other thing that I want to point out is the security around the places we have been these days. There is almost on every major site guarded police or military, and of course this is due to the terrorist attacks which has taken place in Paris before. The ones I can think about is the Charlie Hebdo, the Bataclan attacks, and the cafe attacks which occurred at the same time as the Bataclan attack. And speaking of the Bataclan attack, I would like to give a tip about the podcast episode me and a friend did a couple of years back, just maybe 2 weeks after the terrorist attack at the Bataclan theater. And this is a guy who survived the attack and even spoke to one of the terrorists at the Bataclan theater. Mainly it goes out that it was his brother and him. The guy who we talked to was named Benoit, and they were watching the concert when the terrorists began shooting their AK-47s into the audience, and what happened after, and the escape from the theater and up onto the roof is a really chilling story. So I would recommend you listening to it, and I will put the link in the description as well. So this is the last night in Paris, which reminds me of a film actually. Tomorrow morning we are going to travel south, and we'll see you there.